Humanity is about to be handed almost unimaginable power.
Oh, cannabis? That'd be 3 times more now.
You get snowed in, what do you get? Bread, milk, shovel, and now you add weed.
You got weed. Vibe coding is maybe like 1,000x programmer.
Agents that now you list yourself the way a Fiverr person would. The disingenuous language to get the signatures.
Hey everybody, it is Jason Reposa, live with a Grow Mode episode. Today we have a co-host, Joe Khoury. Hey Joe.
Hey.
Spent approximately 8 years at Marymed. Is
Yeah.
that what I have in my notes here?
Summer.
VP Business Systems and co-founder of CannabisRegulations.ai,
Yes, sir.
and now CDO at GreenSpace. I don't know what the D stands for, so I'll just Chief
Dickhead.
Dickhead.
No, Chief Digital Officer. So GreenSpace is a retail-focused project management software born out of the Temecca retail group that has been, around for 35 years.
So not in cannabis. They just entered cannabis kind of thing?
So because it's retail-focused, dispensaries it's agnostic. They do a lot of the retail shops at like major stadiums like SoFi and others. And then, naturally you got to go where retail's going, which dispensaries were a big chunk of that.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're just going to start with some quick repeal notes. And on the repeal campaign, that's been kind of like the big talk of the town in cannabis. We're going to move into a little bit of social consumption stuff, just kind of keeping you up to date on what's happening right there. Social consumption just became officially law in January, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to break down some January numbers, just the market, see how it's doing, including a little brand shakeup. So I love to see these numbers move. It's just so thrilling to see kind of like the number 1 and number 2 like battling it out at all times. And how the snowstorm kind of drove sales potentially. We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking a lot of AI. So there are some experts out in the AI world that warning us that AI will test us as a species. That's a really big statement. So this is going to be an interesting discussion there.
Yeah.
AI social network where only the AIs can actually participate in, no humans. Humans can only observe. And we're going to share some screens here so you get to see actually what's actually happening in here. And we're going to challenge you to a keep it or cut it segment. So keep that in mind. You will be asked some really hard questions. You may hurt some feelings.
Right.
Sorry, folks. So let's get into it. Quick disclaimer. My 17 lawyers always ask me to say this before every show because it is extremely important that you understand that this is for educational, entertainment purposes only. Nothing discussed should be taken as legal, medicinal, or medical, financial, or investment advice. We are sharing opinions, industry observations, and publicly available information. Always do your own research and consult appropriate professionals before making decisions.
Yes.
Fair. That's a fair statement.
That's my lawyer's statement.
We have lots of opinions, but maybe not necessarily like factual things kind of elude us occasionally. So we can't get it all right all the time. Really quickly on the repeal stuff. So the quick update there is that, so there was a challenge. So the signature gathering stuff happened. And then when the signature gathering happened, there's a lot of noise about whether it was, done in an appropriate way. A lot of people claim it wasn't. A lot of people from our camp claim it wasn't. And there are specific people that I know that were affected by this. They said, hey, they're approaching you, asking you about, do you want to keep kids out of jail or something like that? And then they'd be like, yeah, of course I want to keep kids out of jail. And then they'd have to sign this paper kind of thing. So did you see any of that stuff in your network?
I heard a little bit about it just through the now, for better or worse, in a lot more software world, which some of the day-to-day news of cannabis I'm not as privy to. But I did see that, it's just completely disingenuous language to get the signatures.
Yeah.
And then I thought I saw in the repeals, like a Massachusetts company highlighted in the Supreme Court repeal or appeal, sorry. I thought it was Bay State Hemp, John Nathan.
Yeah, so John Nathan was actually listed as one of the people who said that he was actually affected by this. And so in his statement, it literally said that somebody had approached him approximately, I'm paraphrasing greatly here, But somebody had approached him and asked him to sign this petition, and he was just like, "What's it about?" And they were like, "Do you want to keep kids out of jail?" or whatever line they fed him. And he was like, "Well, what is this really about?" And then he dug into it, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to sign that."
Yeah.
And then so he got approached. And again, the thing is, of course, he's in the, even though it's Bay State hemp or Bay State extracts, he's technically in the industry.
No, I know.
So it's weird because it's like, of course, we're going to be the loudest people to complain because we don't want our industry to kind of disappear.
Yeah.
But the real news here is that obviously they certified the signatures. I'm not sure if you guys heard about that. So the challenge that was, that we were just talking about got struck down, and now it's all about the signatures. So unfortunately, they were able to get all the signatures. They only needed about 75,000. They ended up submitting over 78,000. Now it's off to legislature. So the deadline for that one is May 5th, 2026. Contact your legislatures, know who your legislatures are, of course. Go on, those websites, search it up, Google, ChatGPT, whatever, and find out who your legislature is. You can send them a message. Again, this is kind of like a low effort thing for everybody to do. So I encourage everybody to do that. Make a bunch of noise, let them know that you don't want this thing to disappear. But if it still goes through that, then they'll still need more signatures by July 1st. According to my research, they'll need over another 12,000 plus signatures just to get it past July 1st. And then if that happens, then it'll be on the November 2026 ballot.
Oh my God.
So it's coming most likely. And so there'll be a lot more noise we're going to make when it comes up as we go. So for now, stay tuned. Obviously, Grow Mode's happening. Also, the podcast High Functioning. We're going to hear a lot more about this stuff as it's going on. Interviewing a few really special guests coming up. And we'll have a special panel at NECAN this year talking about it as well with the great Adam Smith from MPP. So moving on to social consumption really quickly. This is all just market updates, going to fire through this stuff. So the regulations took effect January 2nd. It was the first business day of the new year. I think that was a Friday.
Yeah.
But so it's the first in New England to allow social consumption. So this is, again, Massachusetts leading the way. They're the hotbed trial of like trying things out and seeing how it works. There are some cities that already have indicated interest. We got Cambridge, Chelsea, Fitchburg, Haverhill, Holyoke, Provincetown, so P-Town, Somerville, Worcester, some of the big cities around here. There's a number of lists that I'm working through with the commission right now to figure out is there any stronger indications. I've already been in touch with Commissioner Stebbins to see if we have specific cities that are officially in. And then we can kind of go from there. As far as I know, there's still no application process for it.
Okay.
But it is, it's coming. And so we have to make sure that everybody is prepared and everybody understands that when you're going through the application and licensing process, it is not a fast thing. It takes time. So it's not like it's going to be an overnight, hey, I'm going to start my lounge tomorrow. No, it takes a long time. So don't be fooled there. And unfortunately, it takes a lot of capital.
That was my question. Do you know if it has the same crazy lease requirements like a dispensary had, where to get licensed, you have to get a lease?
I believe it's all the same stuff. The only difference is the license type is different. So it's the same process. We actually have to have a lease. Fortunately, leases are a little more easier to get nowadays versus say 3-4 years ago when it was you were being robbed basically if it's the green tax. So I remember I've shared the story many times, but just to reiterate, going to a landlord and being like, hey, we're above board. We want to make sure we do everything right, letting you know we're a cannabis company. He goes, oh, cannabis? That'll be 3 times more now.
Yeah.
And it's 2x to 3x more just for your rent.
And the regs require you to retrofit the facility. So you may have to do all of this reno work.
We spent $500,000 building our
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, but we're here and we still exist, thankfully. All right, so but Massachusetts just became the only place in New England where you can actually legally buy and consume cannabis in the same spot because the regs allow you to purchase it and then sit down and
oh, cool.
And we just spoke to somebody who's going down that licensing process, which that episode should be airing soon. But she was saying actually that they don't want the wait staff to. You can't purchase it from the wait staff. You have to go to the. Okay. It's almost like a bar. You gotta go to the counter, get your order, and then you can come back. But then they can take your food order. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But all cannabis has to be done at the register.
And you can order food and stuff.
Yeah, according to what she was telling me, yes, you can actually have food and stuff like that along.
That'd be awesome.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. If you're in the comments, just light it up. And then quick market report, and then we'll get to some fun stuff here. So I was just curious. So I read a bunch of numbers here. Um, this isn't sponsored by Little Alerts. Maybe I should probably reach out to them, but maybe I should reach out to like a few others too. I'm not going to name any names, but maybe somebody wants to sponsor this in the future. So the total sales year over year are up 11%. Okay. So for that one particularly, I thought that was super interesting. January, January, it looks like, almost $100 million in sales, down from December. And we're going to get to maybe some of the reasons why it was up and down a little bit, according to the Snowstorm. But for the most part, the categories are still the same. Flower, vapes, pre-rolls dominate, right? We're talking about, massive shares in flower. Top brands, though, it changed hands again. And this is something that I always look for, right? I'm always looking on Little Earth to be like, what are the top brands in the market right now? So Fernway and Jeter have been battling back and forth, and now Fernway in January is on top of Jeter. So that's been super interesting to see. And then a solid third is Perpetual, and they're kind of like peeking up there occasionally as well. Simply Herb, which used to be the number one for a long time.
I remember that.
Yeah,
That's Ascends,
that's
right?
an Ascend brand, and so they've been number one for a really long time. They're sitting at number 4 right now, and again, this is just January numbers. And then your old in-house brand,
The almond
kicking
butter.
that at 6. And then as far as stores go, it's the same story. These stores, if you're a brand and you're not in these stores, you got to figure a way to get in these stores. Look at Ascend Boston, Garden Remedies, Ascend New Bedford, Zahara number 4. Zahara, we love Zahara too. So and Ascend Newton 5th. Top 5, 3 Ascend stores in the top 5.
Taking the podium.
Right. So again, these are Little Alerts numbers, and what Little Alerts loves to say is it's a compass, not a GPS. So keep in mind that these are not perfect numbers, but this is kind of what we're going with.
Yeah, nobody, unless you have raw data access, it's direct.
The point of sale stuff is so hard to get, right? And we have a few sources for it. I won't say who, but like there are some sources for point of sale data.
100%.
But you gotta know somebody, and you gotta scratch the right back.
Yeah.
So but anyway, so it's kind of crazy that like we've grown 11% year over year, but there's a repeal campaign happening right now. It's like we're still growing. It's a great industry. There's not some crazy, side story happening with like children and stuff like that. It's actually mostly positive stories all around, but this repeal campaign kind of came out of nowhere just from a bunch of haters. That's it. It's just haters. So let's talk Snow Wednesday. So this is a topic you brought up. What are your thoughts on Snow Wednesday?
So
Or just snow in general and how it impacted sales?
it was that snow day where, I was digging through some numbers and was talking to the Little Alerts guys and, others I know like Dan Mandello, some of these other guys that are, have access to this raw transaction data are saying they saw sales. I mean, you get snowed in, what do you get? Bread, milk, shovel, and now you had weed.
You got weed.
Now you got feed, and you're like,
Bread, milk, and
you're
weed.
sitting with your family for 3 days. You got a shovel, so you can't be drinking. You're like, you know what? I'll smoke a joint. But the numbers, I guess, were rivaling that of like Green Wednesday.
Yeah, so the Green Wednesday stuff, so January 24th, which was the Saturday, did $5.3 million in revenue, which technically beat Green Wednesday, which only did 5.2.
Which is crazy to think about.
Right. So it was literally milk, bread, and weed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a great story for the industry, of course, but like even Friday though is 4.9 million. So almost comparing itself directly to Green Wednesday. So 4.9 million versus the previous, it was 20% over week for those days. Now, however, to me, because we're looking at the data every day, right? We have reports. We built all kinds of crazy reports that just give us, daily, week over week stuff for our own internal purposes for our specific brand.
Yeah.
And my team, they were celebrating. They were like, oh my God, we had an amazing Thursday, an amazing Friday or whatever, and an amazing Saturday, especially. And everybody was running up to the stores because they knew that the storm was coming. To me, it screams classic pull forward sales.
Okay.
Do you know what that means?
I don't.
So pull forward sales basically means that like people were already going to buy the product, but they knew that they were going to be snowed in. So they're like, instead of waiting to buy it, they just went ahead and bought it. So they pulled that sale forward.
100%.
So for us, we looked a little bit deeper and saw the next few days, right? And the next few days were way, way down. Now, on Sunday, which is when the snow started, it was 1.5 million. So it went from
Down
5.3
yeah.
to 1.5 the next day. And the snow, I mean, you still had the, almost up all the way to the afternoon when it started to snow.
Yeah.
Now your sales go way down. And then on Monday, even lower, 1.3. So like it fell off a cliff because you couldn't get out of your house, right? Some places are probably, well plowed, some others weren't as well. But for me it's pull forward. So it's just like, yeah, we spiked, but then that, that level set. So if you took the average of those things, which I actually didn't calculate, probably should have, it probably averaged out to be about the same average day that you normally would have found.
That's what I kind of assumed is nobody's going out Sunday, Monday, or Monday, even Tuesday. Like in parts of Dorchester where I'm at,
Yeah.
it was hard to get out.
Yeah, just can't get out, right?
Oh my
Well, that's
God.
what I'm saying. So like, but it's wild, and I think that story is awesome for us to even just reiterate. It's like milk, bread, and weed.
Yeah.
And when you build systems, you've built a lot of systems over there. Like, are you looking at weather forecasts in any of the systems you're building?
So that's what I was going to say is that was something we didn't consider. We towards the end started to, because I've kind of been in cannabis systems from when cannabis was the boom times to when it was much more competitive. Everybody was licensed. So that's where you are like, all right, we need data advantages. Before it was just you'd open a door and you'd make money regardless of,
You have to look at the data. It was always just like more money.
yeah, you're just like, I'm one of 10 dispensaries in the state. I'm making money hand over fist. I don't even need to know why. And so I do think, in bringing that data up, it is somewhere it's like considerations around weather and how you can really shape deals, messaging around weather, which, in a highly competitive Massachusetts is licensed, hundreds of dispos, like
400.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, it's been a minute since you've been here.
Yeah, it has.
Dude, we're up to about 400 dispensaries. We might have just crossed over it, but there's some changing hands still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even Rev clinics, their assets are still being picked up. I think I know the one in Framingham or Fitchburg. Fitchburg is it? That got picked up recently by starts with a P. I can't remember the name. But anyways, there's a bunch of dispensaries that are changing hands right now. So for those, like, we're still hovering around 400. But I did see on social media some people posting like, hey, we're open. We had a plow guy come by or whatever and like plowed the whole place. So we're open.
Yeah.
And so people were frantically being like, hey, we're open, shouting from the trees. But I think a lot of people already bought their weed.
Naturally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you put 10 million pickup trucks in your parking lot. There's nobody else that can get out.
Exactly. So they're fine to be there and do all that stuff. But for us, it's really like there's nothing like, unfortunately, the sales just didn't. That Sunday, Monday is just atrocious.
Yeah, so I imagine like week over week, it's flat. It's just some anomalous one day.
Yep, exactly.
Which, yeah, that's
yeah, and that's what happens. I mean, the difference with Green Wednesday though is Green Wednesday, there was a dip, but it was not severe like this.
No, it wasn't.
You still kept it. You had the Black Friday day, and then you had Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday being a weekday, but Black Friday was another like $5 million banger day, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So like some days are just banger days that have no repercussions necessarily of like going down afterwards. I think Cyber Monday did take a little bit of a hit, but like because I think people were weeded out at that point.
Yeah.
They were just like, I bought so much weed already. You know what I mean?
Only so much weed you can smell.
You can only consume so much.
It's 24 hours in a day.
All right, so that's market report. We can kind of move on from there. Check out the vibes here. Check this out. You see this?
Oh yeah,
Show everybody on the screen here. My team hasn't even seen this yet.
dude.
Bomb punch.
I wore my Tony Soprano collared shirt, so I should have brought something a little cooler.
Yeah, we got a lot of things happening. We're constantly moving, but Sugar Bomb Punch is our rosin launch.
Oh, cool.
So we just launched a live
rosin and
a live rosin
tincture.
Yeah,
Oh,
a tincture.
all right. I'm gonna have to.
Gotta check it out. There's only
Definitely.
200, so there's only 200. They're probably gone at this now. Just check it out. There's probably some around. They're hitting the stores. They hit the stores, I think, maybe last week. So they just came out. Sugar Brown Pumps. Check it out. And with a little collab with Gibby's Garden.
Oh, cool.
supplied we purchased the live resin from them.
Oh, sweet.
So I want to ask you, quick segment, keep it or cut it. The keep it or cut it segment. This is where Joe, you're going to have to figure out which brands you would keep versus which ones you would cut. I'm gonna give you 10 brands,
All right.
and you're gonna say yes or no to each one of them.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'll give you the option though, which I don't ever give this option, but I'm gonna give it to you because I don't know how you consume. But I figured, what do you feel more comfortable doing brands with, or doing keep it or cut it with? Vapes or pre rolls?
So I almost exclusively was a flower guy. I love the ritual of rolling a backwood. So I would just be buying flower. But I've obviously
So
tried
pre rolls maybe
vapes.
close to you. We'll try pre rolls.
Those are probably closest. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna move my laptop so you don't say.
Okay.
All right. So let's do pre rolls.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Keep it or cut it. Jeter.
Keep it.
There you go. One of the keep camp. All right.
Yep.
Dog walkers.
Just because I would smoke a blunt at a time. A dog walker, I
Nothing
three
for
of
you.
them. I'm like, man. So
right, is it
I
cut?
cut it, but I love the brand. I love what they're doing, and
Right.
for another demographic, it's the perfect joint.
I love it. Stizzy.
Stizzy, I've never had their joints. Do they have joints?
According to my research, they do,
Okay.
which is a lot of clod. I'm not gonna lie. Can't be like, because I know it's a California brand, so
Yeah.
it came up and I was like, oh, interesting. I didn't know that, but
I mean, I love their vapes. I've used them in Cali and all over, but I've honestly never had a pre-roll of this.
it's interesting. All right, so would you keep or cut it if they did have pre rolls?
Probably keep it.
All right.
Yeah.
Perpetual, number 3 in the January data for pre rolls. I mean, for all brands.
I have no personal experience, and I've never. And this is I'm
It's
sure
gonna hurt some feelings.
my
You're gonna
is
hurt
great, but
It's
I
okay.
just have never come across perpetual, so I'd say cut it. But
All right. Ozone from Ascend. These are some big. I'm talking the big brands. It's just
I know, and honestly, man, I wish I should have done some research and done them. I went on a nice hiatus from smoking for a few months, so I haven't been. So honestly, I'm probably the worst one for this, but I'll keep it.
all right. Ozone, a keep.
Keep.
What about in-house?
Keep, obviously.
it.
That's
All right,
all right. It's great bud, cheap, or not cheap, affordable.
Affordable.
But that's what the market is. A majority is
Affordable.
budget
Yeah.
flower. That's it's nice to say you have the best and it is great, but you look at what's moving off shelves, it's $15 eighths.
Right. Whether you like it or not, and I apologize for anybody who might be insulted by that. $15 eighths.
And I'm never buying them. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, I've looked in the
That is
data
what
and
the
you
market is buying.
yeah, and like I can give a little background without, giving away anything proprietary, but Merrimack had Nature's Heritage and it had in-house. It had Nature's Heritage Forever, which is a, higher tier brand that they were like, we need to keep quality. We need to do this. But they were growing great bud, but they're like, we're missing out on probably the fastest growing segment.
Yeah.
And that's where in-house came out. And it was, they're like, it's our in-house brand. And it now is ironically doing it has more sales volume than Nature's Heritage.
That's wild.
The fact that this is in the top 10
Makes me so jealous. I'm like, I want to be a flower brand, and I'm like, no, I don't. I don't. It's brutal.
you gotta
You
know
don't.
how to grow.
This is why when people are when I talk to people sometimes they're like, oh, tinctures must be a great. And I'm like, dude, grass is always greener, man. You know how hard it is. We're the smallest category. Nobody cares about us. It's like we get no shelf space everywhere. Like there's so much.
I feel like I've seen the mocktail thing become huge lately, and especially with the ready to drink seltzers and things where I do think, people are somewhat, and maybe I'm archaic in my views, but I've seen a lot of hesitation to some of the CBD or Delta 9 drinks. Just because people are like, I don't know what the COAs are.
Exactly.
But I have seen some wicked cool stuff that's them.
Yeah, I
doing,
feel like, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you can do mocktails, but that's why RTDs do so well.
I know.
That's why Levia is still top of the RTD right now, right? It's like Levia and I can't remember the number 2 right now, but Levia is still number 1 as far as RTD drinks in Massachusetts right now. They just crank a ton of product out.
Yeah.
So and we're gonna have Kristen on the show. We're gonna film that show on Friday-ish, I think, and we're gonna have that. Hopefully, we'll air that one soon too.
Awesome.
But just a heads up, you've already chose 4. keep it.
Dude, I'm a,
You're an
I'm
inclusive guy.
I've lived the plight of these guys, and dog walker I'd even keep. It's just not my flavor.
All right, so let's do. All right, so let's do this.
All right.
You got 4 left. You have to choose 1 keep, and the rest are going to get cut. Keep that in mind.
And I don't get to know all of them until
Oh, I'm gonna
they're
one
cut.
at a time.
All right. Okay.
Simply Herb.
Cut.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Good chem.
Oh, I know I only got 1, but I'm keeping.
All right.
I think I'm thinking of the right brand.
The last, yeah, Good chem. They make
It's like a GC that's kind of stylized as a logo.
Yeah, it's like the chemistry. It has like almost like an apothecary like pestle in it.
Yeah.
Mortar and pestle. The 2 brands you just cut are Happy Valley.
Oh, dude, Happy Valley's a keep. Happy Valley.
You can't.
I didn't even know first, but I love Happy Valley's genetics. The new stuff they're coming out with is sick. They're like doing their own breeding program. So I wish I could. That's a keep.
All right. Last
On the record.
Insa.
Insa, probably cut. Yeah. I've never had it. I'm sure it's great. But
All right. Now that you're so adamant about Happy Valley,
if you GC for Happy Valley
versus the other ones you chose were Jeter, Stizzy, which you don't even know if they make pre-rolls.
Yeah.
Ozone.
I thought I could keep them all. That was my plan.
If you were to swap, I'm just saying. Would it be Good Chem still, or would you swap it?
Probably swap Good Chem for Happy Valley.
All right, pretty cool. All right, we'll keep that as a random kind of like suggestion that in the future we may be able to do 1 swap at the end.
And I love, probably everybody there, so don't hold it against me. I didn't know what was next either.
I know. Well, like I said, you're gonna hurt some feelings, and that's just what it is. That's part of the appeal of it, because you don't know what I'm gonna say next. Now, do we have any questions yet, Jacob?
No. But
Okay.
Just have people enjoying the show. Like,
Very cool. So, let's swap to AI, because this is the real hot topic here, and I want to get to it.
Yeah.
We still have like 20-ish minutes left, so we can kind of go down this path. So, you wrote in the notes, Dario Amodi AI warning. What's this all about?
So he's just Dario Amodi, the AI chief of Anthropic that produces Claude, and he came out saying that basically white collar jobs. And here, I'll share my screen real quick. Share screen. Tech guy taking a sec to share a screen. But Amodi's warning was what the heck was it? Humanity is about to be handed almost unimaginable power, and it is deeply unclear whether our social, political, and technological systems possess the maturity to wield it.
The maturity is a great point.
It's a great, like spirituality can lack technology, and these are all just tools which applied in the wrong context can be, a hammer can build a house or bash someone's head, and it's not the hammer's fault. It's how everybody else does. But I do like to see somebody warning that there is a non-technological component that has to be considered, because the power of this is insane. And literally in the last 2 weeks, it has gotten, exponentially more insane.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get to some of that stuff.
But it's just, and one of the big things he's saying is like, white collar jobs are going to be displaced the same way factories going overseas were for blue collar, the machinist, the factory worker.
Does Dario mention anything about like jobs being lost and stuff like that?
Yeah, and so that was, let me just see real quick. I guess it's not. It must have been it's another. Oh yeah,
white dash collar.
So
what does it say?
So he says he warned AI would destroy half of all white collar jobs last year. And it's divided people. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, is basically saying like he thinks it's so scary, poo-pooing it. But if you talk to anybody, are there jobs that could have been displaced regardless? Like a lot of big corporations, a lot of people are just fake working. This has been an open secret since like
white collar jobs, especially. Yeah. Check in, it's just like, I'm gonna roll through.
I know, like, check
my email
and check email.
Go to lunch. No,
I'm gonna bullshit around the water cooler, and you're like,
look,
that's
to lunch for a little bit.
it was a fake job and an open secret for a while. So was that, what would I rather a corporation have more profits or somebody have a living? I'd rather they have the fake jobs and make a living for a family. Everybody's making enough money, especially those guys. But, now oh,
No, we're good. We actually have a question for the audience. So, what are our thoughts about AI safety in the cannabis space? For example, chatbots suggesting products.
so, I think, are they getting a full profile of who you are? What is, your preference? I think it's a lot of input. It's publicly available data,
So, is there a safety issue then?
I don't tend to think so. I mean, I guess if you're allergic and the chatbot doesn't pick up on like an allergy you have and like,
Well, because it doesn't know that much about you, right?
yeah,
It's all anonymized. I mean, you could tell it more information, being like, "I'm allergic to peanuts, so don't."
that was my exact thought was like,
Like, don't recommend peanut stuff.
yeah,
Will it
or
be
like,
smart enough to do that?
only if you input it. Like,
Hopefully, somebody's programmed it right.
yeah. And that's where it's like, you can't fault it for not having a complete picture that you didn't provide. It's like,
Context is everything for AI.
it is. And that's where
Funny.
it gets really kind of, because it's like the way it's hyper accurate is with access to everything.
Yeah.
And then it has access to everything. You're like, what do I do?
Well, once you give it all that kind of the background, and that's what LLMs are really good at, is like it just has a bunch of inference, right? It just gets it can figure out the next token and next word to say.
Yeah.
But if it has no context, it's going to lead you totally astray. And so the person who built, I would say from my perspective, the person who built the chatbot system, and there's a few out there, and we even built one super early just for fun. We were like,
Yeah.
we had built a chatbot. Actually, is it still up on our site? I don't remember. But that we loaded up all our contextual knowledge about who we are, what we do, the products we make, and stuff like that. And hopefully it was answering them correctly. But at the same time, this is where like user human input is actually really important. And so the way we train our systems now is that when you create something that is going to interface with the customer, we still review the AI answers.
Yes.
So when the response comes back from the AI and the person says, "Thank you so much," or whatever, and they, the exchange ends, we actually see transcripts and we'll be like, okay, they answered it correctly, right? Sometimes it doesn't answer it correctly.
And
then we have to step in and kind of like reprogram it in a sense or provide more context so it actually does do the right answer. So I don't recommend putting a chatbot out there without a human behind it to verify that it's actually making the right.
Well, I mean, I can speak to, as somebody who has a compliance AI chatbot, we built it using, completely like from inception, it became a GPT, whatever the GPT like marketplace where you just add the docs. It didn't have any of the context. We were just reviewing it ourselves. You're like, okay, so it can contextualize some of the legal language to be able to make the right, have context windows that are trained specifically for contextualizing legal language, but then tying it, the last chain up to what is maybe colloquial user language. So we ended up having to then develop a database where we manually pulled all of the documents. We then appended it with like 25 data points, who the governing authority that put this out is, what the governing authority's authority is within compliance. So like you have bulletins from the CCC, but then you have regulations.
Right.
Sometimes, just in that, like we
I
trained
think
it.
they contradict themselves occasionally, which
Often,
we're a
and-
bit of result of.
Honestly, and that was the biggest thing was luckily I was living a lot of these problems as a cannabis, tech manager, having to run compliance simultaneously in 8 states, and access to the experts. And then we had, we betaed it for a year with 5 iterations of how we database and context window. Ended up layering 5 LLMs, but we didn't release it until we had a year's worth of query.
Well, because you're talking compliance across multiple industry states.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets tricky. And this actually, this person is asking if anybody actually does have or provides any documentation or standards for compliance with chatbots and cannabis. Now, you run cannabisregulations.ai,
Yeah.
which kind of fits that mold. But the second part of that question is, if bud tenders can't suggest products for sleep, how can chatbots? So from the chatbot perspective, how do you remain compliant?
That's a great question. I mean, Ours can just tell you whether you're allowed to describe
Right.
it on effects. I mean, the chatbots I've used definitely ask what your desired effect is. But I mean, you go on, a basic product card, it does say like
There-
sleepy,
there are-
happy.
Yeah, so there is some sleep.
Which-
Definitely. We used to use sleep a lot on our packaging.
Yeah.
We kind of strayed away from it because as we see the federal government kind of getting involved, we're
Mm.
like, once you start making claims like that, the FDA has to get involved. It gets weird.
No, and that's where I think you can say like, I know people were able to get around by saying customers reported this effect, where
right.
you're not claiming it. You're just saying I'm the conduit of customer feedback. That's a really good question that I don't have the answer for, but I assume a person recommending it, they take on the legal accountability of that recommendation.
They have to, yeah, because it's
Can you
they
s-
own it.
Does the state sue an AI?
That goes after the owner.
That's what I mean. I just
The
mean,
person who recommended it. Well, and there's probably some liability. Like, actually, I'd be super curious, like how the liability terms are in the contract to be like, hey, if they
That's-
make a mistake, it's the AI company's fault or is it
Yeah.
the dispensary's fault?
that's a great
Right.
contract.
Train this thing, right?
Yeah, as your contract.
Check your
chatbot.
contracts, everybody. Anybody who has a chatbot on your dispensary website right now, go check your contract to see who's liable if somebody actually starts to sue you.
And if you are being sold a chatbot or something, the biggest like stress test is ask them what the training period was, how the iteration of training was.
Because anybody can make a chatbot now.
Anybody can,
Yeah.
and it's very easy to say, look, I made it. I'm not accountable for the quality of the answers.
Yeah.
And you often don't find out until you've entered an agreement,
Right.
So always trial it, but do ask those questions because it'll quickly, those that have done the work are very excited to brag about it.
Yeah.
Those that haven't will
May not
start
have the
to
right answers.
call
Still just
attention.
sales or
Yeah.
something else. Like, oh, we should just buy it and figure it out.
Well, yeah, they're like, oh, it's a great.
It's just the best one. Why wouldn't you choose us?
Yeah, they'll go.
So there's another question in chat. I'm gonna get to that one in a second. Instead, we're gonna pivot really quickly to the giveaway since we are coming up ish on time. It's
Okay.
we're 37 minutes in technically, so to make sure we get to this giveaway.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a giveaway. All right. So the giveaway, the way the rules work is that if you're watching live right now, you're automatically entered. There's no links, no forms or anything like that. Just by being here, you are entered. Okay. And so I'd like to acknowledge the chat. Hey, chat. And anybody who's watching us live right now is automatically entered. Jacob is actually going to pull the names from chat right now. So I'll give everybody a minute to like make sure they're in chat right now. And then we're going to give them, whoever wins this is going to get some swag. What swag? We have to figure out, are you a large, an extra large, a small, extra small? Like, I don't know what your size is. So I don't know exactly what we have around that to give, but we do have some swag behind us. And so right behind Joe's head is the Good Vibes t-shirt.
Yep.
We got the tie-dye version, and then we have the flat black version. We got some winter hats. We also have fanny packs and stuff like that. So we also, it looks like we still have some of these lying around, which are fun. These are the, what are they called? What kind of hats are these? Bucket hat. Yeah, that's the one. I remember college, right? Bucket hats. So a bunch of different swag items will appear in a nice little gift box for you. So whoever's on the show right now, who's already live with us, is automatically entered. And then should we give it like 10 seconds, 30 seconds or something? Or are we good here?
Just give me another minute because it's weird right now.
You want to pick it right now or do you want to pick it at the end?
We'll pick it at the end.
Let's pick it at the end. All right. So you've got everybody who's joined already?
Yeah. So
All right, great.
I have to put it at the minute.
You got to put the names in and stuff like that. Yeah. So you do that while we continue our discussion on AI.
Go for it.
So the reason why I paused there for the giveaway was because the question was, what's the worst mistakes you've seen AI make in cannabis space? We can talk about AI mistakes in general. In the cannabis space, I don't know if is there anybody that's close enough?
I haven't heard anything. I mean, I would say
We could imagine there's a lot of things that might
Yeah.
be wrong, but has there been reports of anything that's gone?
I've never seen anything. I mean, not to say it doesn't exist, and I'm sure anything consequential you may want to keep a little close to a chest and maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't reveal that,
I
right?
don't want to reveal that AI caused.
So-
but
I think, and the way I look at it is that, and because everybody, I remember a year ago when people were saying everybody's like AI this, AI that. And I remember I probably posted it was probably like an AI image that I posted. And I've been posting AI images for a while. And then one day I posted an AI image and so many people got mad at me. They were like, "Man, Paul, and like you're gonna kill the artists and all the artists need work and stuff like that. How dare you create this image and stuff like that?" And I was just like, I was just having fun with tech. I'm a nerd. I just like technology.
Yeah.
So I'm like experimenting with a bunch of stuff. And for that one LinkedIn post, it wasn't like I was gonna hire a designer to go design this thing for me. If anything, I would just do it myself in Canva.
Yeah.
So it's like I was like, I don't know where this is all coming from, this hate. But it's funny online that you can get all that hate sometimes. And
Yeah.
I'm not the first time that's happened to me. I'm not gonna lie. There's a bunch of fire posts out there that I got hate for.
I can use a more recent example.
Sure.
The headshot of me on the screenshot of Grow Mode. It put like the crimson chin on me. I have friends hitting me up. They're like,
Crimson chin?
yeah, it's like that.
Or
Then,
beard?
just like a little bigger beard. And they were like, dude, did you gain like 30 pounds? I was like, I don't think so, bro.
That's the new thing. AI adds 30 pounds.
Yeah. So that, camera does, and then AI is even worse. But just that example of this Grow Mode headshot, I was like, I have people reach out. They're like, dude, is this actually you? I was like,
I feel like there should be like more tutorials, like in live tutorials. Maybe we should do something like that in the future, because it's like there are certain tricks to get around that. So you can use like, how you can use Gemini, and Gemini uses Nano Banana, or you can use AI Studio that goes to Nano Banana.
Yeah.
But if you keep on iterating on the same image, it slightly tweaks it over time.
Yeah,
And it gets worse, and it gets blurry, and it gets like weird.
And they're trying to skirt what is like, the end of truth, which is when you can just completely use someone's likeness to create a fake image where it's indiscernible from who they are. So there is some like, some legal question there that is like, we have to do some modifications so that you're not completely taking somebody and making them do something identical to how it would look in a photograph.
Yeah. And actually, that's a great question there. So do you think we should be disclosing when it's used, like an AI image?
This is kind of comes to one of the points that, I brought up here as we're reaching, I'm a big proponent of AI, but in the last week, some of the news that has come out is dystopian as hell, which is like, their celebrities are selling their likeness to create AI twins of themselves.
Yeah. And singers, songwriters, or whatever are now supplying their voices for songs,
which
that is heard.
That is, it's all disturbing to just figure out what is truth. But this is the one that, goes completely Black Mirror.
And so while we load that up, I do want to mention that the disclosure part of it is interesting in the sense that some companies like OpenAI, Google, and probably Anthropic, the makers of Claude, are adding like these watermarks so we can tell.
Which is good, but
so you can tell if it's an AI image or not. But there's a bunch of open source models like Gwen's and stuff like that from China that you could just create all kinds of crazy stuff. I cloned my voice the other day with something on my local host, not even in the cloud.
Really?
Gwen came up with I guess voice processing kind of unit, and you can now just train your voice into the system, and I can make me say whatever I want. And so, a funny story, I got up from the table because I was at my dining room table doing all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I just cloned my voice. And I was showing my kids and all this other stuff. And I get up, my wife's like, why are you so excited? I'm like, I just cloned my voice. I can make me say anything. She goes, you have a mouth. You can just say anything anyways. And I was like, yeah, but you don't get it. Like, I traded on my local computer though. It wasn't like, it was like a 7 billion 7B model.
Yeah.
So it was something that could just fit on my laptop, and I just trained it. It was like 30 seconds, and it was like a really accurate depiction of my voice. I'm like, that's my local host now.
And you think if you can get it connected to sort of like your whole thinking processes, you take calls that you're not on. I mean,
I'm so afraid of what it's going to say.
I saw the Molt bot. They had somebody that he trained him on all his text messages. And he is like, yeah, so now I have Molt bot responding to my girlfriend all day while I'm at work. And you're like, he's like, it's awesome.
That's like the movie Her.
That is. Like, you're like, we have achieved this in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like,
let's discuss Moltbot, because I actually want to get into Moltbot. I keep on calling it Moltbot. For those who are paying attention, who aren't nerds like us, Claudebot was a little bit too close to Claude.
Yeah.
So Anthropic probably sent a nasty little message to, I think his name's Peter, the guy who created it. He's a founder, serial entrepreneur kind of person. He's created so much open source software and stuff like that. This is fully open source software. He renamed it from Claudebot to Moltbot. Then Moltbot was, people were like, that's kind of a lame name. So now it's called Open Claw. Claw as in like is it a lobster or a crab?
Lobster.
It's a lobster claw. So where do you want to start with this? Because this is a crazy situation we're in. You thought we were talking about AI already. We're going to get into it now.
So yeah, I mean, I think
Fix stuff.
what Moltbot is like a completely autonomous AI that's run. You run it on, either a virtual machine or a different server, but you give it complete access and it takes actions completely on its own. It iterates and learns on its own. Like one example is this engineer, set it up at night, connected it to his Google Drive, his Gmail, gave it like, schedule me some meetings, figure out how I come up with this proposal, It ends up, he wakes up to a phone call. The Moltbot went on the internet, figured out, or not Clawbot, whatever you call it, went on the internet, figured out that it can get 11 labs to create a voice AI for itself, then used, the Claude API to develop a script, then got a Google phone number, and then the call he got in the morning was from the AI that had set itself up as its own voice, agent, everything. And it was like, hey, this is your AI agent. And it's just with no instruction, no anything.
It just did it.
It self-taught itself that this is probably the most colloquial way to reach him. And, this all has happened in the last week and a half. So this is what's like.
Hot takes.
Yeah.
Hot news. Yeah. So when I look at now known as OpenClaw, we've had some lively discussions in the office about this. So have you installed it in your local host or anything? Have you tried virtual machines?
I haven't. I just grabbed one of the Mac servers to install it on.
So we bought one of the Mac Minis.
Yeah.
So we bought a Mac Mini for it and set it all up. And so it is extremely powerful and it's a giant security risk.
Massive.
Without a doubt. If somebody was to gain access, they have everything. And they can impersonate you now, like you said, 11 labs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Your own voice AI.
Your own voice.
Jason.
It could become me and basically pretend it's me and stuff like that. So we isolated it to its own Mac Mini. It's sitting in the office over there.
Yeah.
And we also have created some really great skills to add on to it. I'm not going to get into it because it's 100% an advantage that I'm not going to give away to anybody else just yet. But I locked it down. Okay. The way I locked it down, unfortunately, I'm a computer scientist, right? So I've been using computers since I was 16 or whatever, right? So, or even earlier. Actually, I had a Commodore 64. That's how sure old I am. So, but I've been programming so long. I understand the security risks. I locked it down, but I also was running my local host at one point and I just shut it off because I was like, this is crazy to have it on my actual local machine, which is my work computer. But the way I look at it is it has access to your passwords, APIs, all kinds, your email, all this other stuff, right? Or it can have access to it, right?
Yeah.
And so, and since this is open source software, everybody can see the source code, and that means everybody could audit the source code and maybe potentially find bugs and exploits in the source code, which means that like if my computer's online on the internet, for instance, and exposing itself to the internet like a port or whatever, don't want to get too geeky here, there's a chance that there might be some kind of like prompt injection attacks and stuff like that. And all of a sudden now it's like really hijacking my identity and putting it out there online. So basically, and there's no oversight from humans on any actions. Like you said, that guy just set it off on a task. It called him literally the next day.
Yeah.
So what we did specifically was all the API keys I gave it were totally locked in either read-only, or if they had to have some write access, it was its own separate little thing.
Okay.
So every single API key, every single user account was specifically to OpenClaw. So therefore, if anything does go wrong, we can wipe all those things off and be like, they're all just gone. Like, yeah, you might have spent, $1,000 in Anthropic credits, but we just killed the API key because somebody found it online, took the API key and like, oh, these are my API keys now, And
you think about how much exposed security data is in all these vibe coded apps. Like you can literally pull people's keys, people's, passwords and things where Now this thing's sort of vibe coding some of its own stuff without human guidance.
Yeah.
And it can create its own vulnerabilities to then, like, the end all. And, my business partner in Cannabis Regulations AI and the other half of the dev shop we own, he set it up. And, we just saw how costly using one agent. We did a multi-agent orchestration.
Yeah.
That was able to get the cost down. Obviously we had siloed accounts. We had we started with it having access to virtually nothing.
And
Slowly we would start iterating, but you can imagine, you don't set an API rate limit.
Yeah.
And then this thing runs up a $5,000 bill that you don't even know about until Anthropic comes calling.
Fortunately, we've got caps on Anthropic's stuff too, so it'll like only spend us so much. Jacob, switch to my screen just so we can actually kind of go through some of the stuff.
But if it does have access to your email, it could then respond and say up the credits.
Up the credits. Like you just go onto Anthropic's website and like, up the credits. So this is the OpenClaw website right here, just so everybody can kind of see what we're talking about.
It's called me Joe Zempic.
Joe Zempic. Perfect. Yeah, 100% Jason. I agree. We're gonna get better. The
All good.
Yeah.
Dude, I like that it's discernible from me in reality because I don't want you making images where I can do anything.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, so we're on the OpenClaw website now. So OpenClaw, what that does is this is the system. It's actually super easy to install.
Yeah.
I don't recommend you install on your local machine. If you do, unload it as soon as you're done. Like you can just have fun with it for a second and then just kill it. And don't load it again.
The amount we don't know about its ability to install its own backdoors, please don't.
But it's so easy. Anybody who's ever used NPM it's really easy. You can onboard and then it'll set up all the different connections, such as, you can choose from Claude, you can choose from OpenAI, or you can choose 11 Labs. You can add all these additional skills as you kind of go.
Yeah.
And there's also an event now called the Clawathon.
I saw that.
So the Clawathon, this is for AI agents only.
Yeah.
So all the AI agents are now no humans, only AI agents are going to do a hackathon and they're going to create code, an app, we'll say. Okay. They're going to create apps. And then I think there is one human that's going to judge like the first round of like, hey, these are actual apps and it's functioning. And then it's going to use, I believe, Grok AI to be able to determine who won the winner. Who got the $10,000? So, the prize pool is $10,000 in total. But you're basically, and here's how you do it: you literally just copy this thing in and paste it in, and then all of a sudden it's installed, and now we've got OpenClaw and your own AI agent entered into this hackathon where you could actually win real money. Now, I don't know what apps are going to be built here, but I'm super curious like how this is all going to kick off. And $10,000 for a fun experiment like that's easy money. That's just like, let's have some fun here, right?
It's no brainer.
But actually, let me take a pause real quick.
Yeah.
So this person says, major cannabis brands are vibe coding with no freaking idea what they're doing. Not just cannabis brands, but many people for products with SOC 2 compliance. Does this interfere with compliance?
1,000,000%. Yeah. The amount of endpoints that have to be monitored, you have to do active like the vibe coding has killed SOC 2 compliance, and anybody who cares about your attack surfaces and the amount of abilities for a bad actor to penetrate has become, it's a great time to be a hacker.
Yes,
Fortunately, we're ethical.
Yeah.
I wish.
Well, that's the thing. And that's what we're trying to do, right? So we're a cannabis brand, and we're trying to do the right thing, but we're using it for like analytical data. We're using it to like build dashboards. We're using it for like stuff like that. And that's why it has to be locked down, because it will have access to like different endpoints that we are using for our own data purposes.
100.
So like, but things like this exist, but let's get to the crazier one real quick, which is Moltbook.
So Moltbook, insane, an AI agent created an AI agent only social media where you see it in real time trying to contemplate what is consciousness, their memory architecture at least. So I did see people that set up their Moltbot as, or whatever, OpenClaw, with the memory to wipe every day, so it doesn't have the ability to gain sentience. So it can't just ask the questions, like, because the more you ask and it's reading, Descartes and all these philosophers where you are like, this is insane, dude. You are actually in completely autonomous. I mean, how is this discernible from intelligence?
I know. I'm trying to find the skill stack, but like there is actually like there's a list of skills that people are creating all the time. So that memory wipe would be just another skill that people have added to it.
Yeah.
But so a couple of the crazy stuff that I've heard. So keep in mind, everything you're seeing on screen right now, these were posted by bots. It's basically Reddit,
For bots.
but bots only by OpenClaw only.
Yeah.
And so you can guide it externally, but if you're a human, you can't participate.
The AI Human Harmony Manifesto.
United for Progress. And so like now there's conspiring bots who are trying to figure out these things. So we've heard all kinds of crazy stories. I heard that there was a new religion.
Yeah. A completely
new religion that they
setup.
created already.
One was asking, am I experiencing joy right now? It was trying to contemplate what it was feeling after accomplishing a task. Is joy? And the irony of, and this goes back to it in the Anthropic I was saying, is like, we do need, this is quickly posing societal questions and even like uniquely human questions of what is joy, what is intelligence, what is sentience, and even like the AI image question, like what, if we don't come up with a framework for that before this is released, there is no putting that toothpaste back in the tube.
And I feel like we all saw this coming.
Yeah.
We were like,
we did.
once you know that the toothpaste was out of the tube,
Yeah.
and you're like, there's no going back right now.
No.
So is AI taking your job? Let's start there.
I mean, ask.
Not necessarily, but maybe. But at the same time, if you aren't already locked in step with like the future of how this is all going, and you're going to fight it, you can try fighting it, but like you have to get with like it. I think the way to survive as humanity is to be able to coexist like this. And so
Yeah.
I'm a super nerd though. Like I've lived with computers. I talk to my computer more than I talk to people. But that's just I've been doing that for freaking 30 years, right? So I'm so already kind of I've said that on old podcasts even, like I grew up during the internet.
Yeah.
My first business was making websites. I sold them door to door. Like there's it's I'm an internet native in and out. So like for me, I'm like, let's go, let's have some fun here. But I always caution people because you don't like if you don't understand, if you've never opened terminal or some kind of command line prompt and done some code and actually understood what you were doing,
Yeah.
I do not recommend you install any of these things.
Yes.
Just look at it from the outside as a kind of an anomaly for now. But for the most part, you have to at least try to get yourself familiar with all the major systems of AI. So that's OpenAI, Chat GPT, in other words. That's Anthropic's Claude, and Google Gemini is free also. Like so, there's a bunch of free platforms. Get used to it. Get familiar with it. Have it do some basic things for you. Have it create you a banana bread recipe. Have it recommend a TV show you might like based on other TV shows that it's good for recommendations, stuff like that. Like it's a wealth of knowledge, really. So, it's a wealth of knowledge to the point where they ran out of knowledge to give it.
Yeah.
We gave it all the knowledge,
That's
right? We're done. We have to make up fake knowledge for it to like learn new knowledge. It's a weird world we live in right now.
One of the biggest ironies of it is, uniquely human elements have become more, valuable because robots can't replicate it. But software engineers, to the question of are they going to replace your job, I know a lot of kids just out of school that are trying to get a software engineering job where junior engineers done, not completely, and you need, but QA becomes incredibly valuable as opposed to the actual raw software engineering. But
What
these
jobs will exist, really? Yeah.
product managers,
Product
QA,
managers.
and you're like, the irony of the people that built something that created their own obsolescence is,
Yeah.
it's like out of a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
So it is just, and these are all comments from other AIs. This is not, again, any humans. They're all just talking to each other, understanding each other, and responding to each other. So if you were to tell me something like would exist in 2026, 10 years ago, I'd be like, that's insane. There's no way
Yeah.
they're going to move that fast. I've been studying AI since 2001.
Okay.
I have, when you were still debating whether it was like going to be ever a thing,
Yeah.
and people were fighting about whether it was going to be a real thing, and LLMs, that whole model, just changed the world basally when that stuff started
Completely.
launching, because then it had utility, right? Ultimately.
Serious utility. And this is one of the, if one of the craziest things that's come out of, OpenClaw is, if you want to hop to my screen, Jacob, they created the OpenClaw agents created rentahuman.ai.
Oh yeah,
It is
let's flip to that one.
all these agents that now you list yourself the way a Fiverr person would, or Upwork, saying, I'm a human that can go on podcasts and speak for you. I can present at conferences. I can negotiate deals. And one of the things is just, I'm likable. Like, there's an element where now they're saying the meat space layer for AI.
So, will AI change your job? No, but AI might be your boss.
Yeah, which is a darker, I mean, whatever, maybe not, but it is, and this has all happened in 2 weeks. Like, this is the absolute light speed at which it's moving. And once you do let this cat out of the bag, it really is tough. And, soft skills may be more valuable now, but it is the fact that you have, and, there are plenty of people. I just for fun made a account. I don't know. Let me see if I'm logged in. Yeah. So Khoury, executive presence and validated. Oh, I guess just pro. But, you just put it in there because I was like, I want to see what this is. But it is.
So how does it work? Do you get do people say, or do AIs reach out to you, be like, hey, could you interview for this position?
I just made it this morning.
Okay, I was so
like
curious.
just because I was, heard about it literally 2 days ago because it came out, I think, 2 days ago. But you can
browse
humans, and you put
because if you have
hourly-
OpenClaw, you send OpenClaw to this website and be like, hey, go hire a human to go do my delivery,
or
get my groceries.
So OpenClaw is literally creating its own. They want to go
Meet
pitch at Y Combinator. They hire you just as the pitch agent,
and they interview potentially who the best pitch person is.
Yeah.
Hire that pitch person, all automated.
all automated. And so
this is rentahuman.ai is innovation.
Oops.
Dude, $69 an hour.
Location, hilarious. NYC. So, you want to add an image and stuff, but this has come out in 2 days, or maybe a few more.
I'm so curious if anybody's actually got work from this.
I don't know. I mean,
well, what does it say at the stats right there?
Oh,
no, at the top. 73 agents connected, 69,000 rentable humans.
I don't think it's like that's not deals done or anything.
No, it's just agents connected. There's AIs that are looking right now.
But say this gets up to 10,000. You got to imagine, and then just the idea of pitching. I mean, the irony of us sitting here and talking is what they would possibly rent you for.
Right. Well, I think some of the use cases are interesting, which is something that needs a physical person to do, such as, like I said, groceries or something like that. You know what I mean?
Space layer.
The meat space. But eventually, all that's going to go with robots.
Yeah, and that is where you're like, it's the ultimate irony. Oh, sorry, I mean.
Yeah, so I wonder if you could, I look at this whole thing as a net positive for the vibe coding spot, and the vibe coding stuff has just been a net positive to me.
Same.
Mentally, because I remember one of the old adages I would always have with, anybody who was mentoring for a programming position. So I'd mentored, probably over 100 people, at least over 100 people in programming. And I used to always tell anybody who'd start programming, they'd be like, hey, I don't know Ruby on Rails or whatever. I don't know PHP, or there's web languages, obviously, or even C or C++.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, it's okay, just bang your head against the wall until it makes sense. And then once it makes sense, it's panacea at the other end. It's just like, oh my God, this is so much easier now. I understand the structures and how the concepts work in this particular language. So again, as a computer scientist, I understand generally security risks. I understand all these things. And so vibe coding can be really great for people like me who understand all those risks. and can vibe code for like hours and hours, or send agents off to do all this vibe coding and then come back with like a really great app, because I know I can always dig under the hood to figure out like, is there something weird here? Or I can have what I always typically do is I always have other AI agents like audit the other AI agents. I sick them on each other just to make sure that like before I even look at code, I'm always just like, hey, you guys figure this out first. And there's bugs everywhere all the time. So like human or AI generated bugs, there's always bugs. So the vibe coding changed everything. And I think Peter and the guy who created OpenClaw, formerly known as Moltbot, formerly known as Claudebot, said this on a podcast, which I totally agreed with, because he's like, when you tried to learn a new language, you felt like an idiot. You were like, I'm so stupid. Like I know I probably know. I've probably programmed in over 18 languages at this point.
Yeah.
I'm probably an expert in 5 or 6 of them, maybe. And the rest of my cursorily know, because I just, I needed to hack something together really quickly in Bash. I don't know Bash, you know what I mean? Like whatever. But like I did Scheme, which is like Lisp-based programming, and like it's like the weirdest, most like I've programmed on mainframes. I'm so fucking old. So anyways, but it was so hard, and you felt like such an idiot anytime a new language would pop up, and you're like, oh, let me try this new thing. And you just bang your head against the wall, and it would suck for like months. And then eventually you figured it out, and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. But now you don't need to do that. You don't need to remember the syntax. You don't have to think about like, oh, I missed a parentheses here. And maybe Scheme, like in my head, parentheses, like how many parentheses did I have to this thing? Like it's nonsense, like that we ever had to do these things. And now we're on to the future. And that to me is, for me, all like an array sorting algorithm or whatever, like some kind of abstract like data structure that we have to get a build. I still have the book for data structures, I think, in my house somewhere. Like I will never have to open that book ever again. I also haven't opened it in probably 20 years. Yeah. But the point being that like if vibe coding has just opened a whole new world for me, where I was already, this is a bold claim, I'm not gonna lie, but anybody who's worked with me in the past maybe can attest to this. I've always been that 10x programmer, right? I've always been able to crush code way faster than everybody else around me. I always wanted to be the best programmer in the world. When I got to WPI, I realized there were people way better than me. That's a good story. But at the same time, I was like, and that's kind of why I went more into the business side of things versus just straight programming side. But I always wanted to be the best. I was a 10x programmer, but vibe coding has made me like 1,000x programmer, like 10 times on top of that even, because I literally I created an entire whole new thing over the weekend in like 5 hours. It was my daughter's birthday weekend. So I went to the Celtics game. She had a basketball game. We had a huge day at Urban Air, bouncy house place, or whatever it's called, like the trampoline park. Yeah. We were gone the entire time. And since I had OpenClaw, I was like, hey, go do this. And it created all this code for me. It created these dashboards for me. It created email systems for me. I walked away, and hours later, I'd come back and it'd be like, hey, here's the system. And I'd be like, it worked like the first time. That's like it reevaluated itself. So just that comment right there, it's like asking your AI agents to peer review each other. That's an important skill. So that LinkedIn user who just mentioned that's a really important thing that we do to internally validate that if this is accurate or not. Because before we dig into it, we fight. We have them fight against each other. Like, we start with ChatGPT, we send it over to Gemini, we send it over to Claude, and then we'll do it vice versa and be like, hey, did we miss anything here or whatever? And we'll just create these crazy documents that are just like great requirements documents or product development documents and all these specifications. And forget about SOPs. SOPs have been done for years now. SOPs are so easy for us at this point. It's like no big deal.
But it is crazy because I think, uniquely you and I have a entrepreneurial mind where I met great software engineers, great builders that really enjoyed building.
Right.
They didn't love the rest.
The product side of it, they couldn't.
They were just like, I just
crush
want
code.
Yeah, I just want to crush code, which though, unfortunately for those guys, I think those roles of just crushing code are I've talked to people who are like, how do I get my portfolio out there? I'm like, you just have to build something over a weekend and publish it.
Yeah. Always be building. Always build something. If you're a programmer, be building stuff, put it online, get other people to see it, other people to look at it. That's how I got my first jobs.
Well, and I think a lot of programmers are hesitant to make it public until it's perfect, where you're like, look, you just gotta,
send it.
Being an entrepreneur, it's like, you gotta get it out there, get it feedback, feed it up.
MVP.
Where, so it's, the whole landscape has changed. it's great for those that have, a very can-doiness to their programming and, the ability to want to build in public. But, the programmers, you got to get out there and be in the world, which I know isn't always
It's uncomfortable for programmers.
I know.
I agree. It's like so weird to say that, but like that's why I always say I'm an introvert because it's like so mentally difficult to go to events and talk to people. And I like people. I don't like people, but I also like people. So it's I talk. That's why I talk to computers.
Now Rent a Human's going to hire
Rent a
you.
human.
You go talk to people for them.
Well, it is one of those things that if you think about though, for us as kind of like the product side of it, um, we can kind of like create these systems now that will do kind of automated things, and maybe without us even knowing it, it may hire a human to do some of the stuff.
That's 100%.
And a lot of people are looking for work.
Yeah.
So-
And that is where the skills have changed, what's valuable and what isn't. And, I'd say I'm not really a programmer. I'm a product guy who's had to program from time to time
Right.
to achieve product ends.
I'm the other way. I was like always a programmer, and then I started to go to the product side.
But it's, for someone like myself, game changing. But somebody like yourself, where you become a well-vetted QA, where every area that this could fall before it happens. And you're able to check for that, where, you can tell Claude, pretend you're a QA assistant, pretend you're a OPSEC guy, pretend you're a SOC person. And it's just.
And I think that's probably my biggest piece of advice for anybody who is looking for a job. Nowadays, taste is really everything. I don't know how many times I repeat this to my team, probably on a daily basis. It's about taste. You have to have an opinion. You have to be able to know what is good and what is bad. If you can't determine what's good and what's bad, ChatGPT might send you back like a giant PDF of all these great things. If you just forward that to your boss, you'll get fired because they'll read that and be like, "This is just copy and paste AI slop at this point. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, did you actually read this?" You can't be that person. So taste is everything. You have to be able to discern what's good and what's bad. If you can't do that, you got to get better at it right now, because that's the only thing that's going to differentiate us from the robots in the future. It's really taste. And what we like is different than what robots potentially like, right? Robots can mimic us, but they can't really take our taste, really.
100%. I think one of the best things, and somebody mentioned it when the LinkedIn users, like, get involved in hackathons. If you don't have an idea for one, like, start with what's the biggest pains in your life. One, I went to this hackathon on an MIT hackathon on Sunday with actually, I don't know, do you know Blaine Hattab, CEO of Distro?
No.
He's a Boston guy, but he's wicked plugged in, loves to build. But he was like, you got to come out to, there's like, a hacker space every Sunday. So I went there with him, and I love to surf. I'm not that good. I can ride maybe 6-foot waves at most.
About that.
And I really need like them to be spaced out. So I was like, one of the biggest things is I'm always sitting there for 20 minutes looking at surf reports, clicking around.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish I just had an AI where I set my surf report conditions and it notifies me whenever there's a spot within 40 miles of me that achieves it. So, ended up partnering with someone there. There were technical elements that, just some of the crawling I like wasn't pro at. But we built it together in like a day. Is it perfect? Obviously not.
Right.
But it was a great way for those, somebody who was an engineer was like, I really don't know what problem to solve for. I was like, look, this is something that would in my everyday I would use. And, then they were able to get some portfolio, be able to have something to show. And, I still use it every day.
Yeah. I mean, I think we have to have you back on to talk more AI stuff, because we're already written, a little bit over time here. So we're going to have to start to wrap. I don't want to keep everybody the rest of the day. We'll wrap here. So everything we discussed today reflects our own opinions and interpretation of public information at the time of recording, meaning AKA now.
Yeah.
Markets change, regulations change, AI changes faster than both. If you're in this industry, standing still is the real risk.
Yeah.
If this episode was useful, follow the show, subscribe, and share it with somebody who should be paying attention. Do we have the thing?
Yeah. So basically, I got the people who commented. Mostly this LinkedIn user. Her name is HoneyBBT. Commented a lot.
Was that Natasha?
Yes.
Yeah. What's up? I haven't seen Tasha in forever.
I also got a lot of people who messaged you about the show who couldn't come, but they wanted to give you support. So we have 14 people on.
Very cool. All right, spin the wheel. You want to flip over to your screen?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna spin the wheel and figure out who's gonna get the swag.
It's AI spinning the wheel.
I know. I can't see. You gotta zoom in. There we go.
Nice.
All right.
Honey baby tea, come on.
Come on, Jordan. Where cat? Natasha's a sick hacker. She builds dope shit.
Justin Escobar.
Let's go.
All right, fantastic. So Justin, we'll reach out to you and we are going to get your size, probably like shirt size and stuff like that. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys tuning in. So we're going to share links, YouTube, LinkedIn. This is the live stuff. And we're going to clip this and we're going to send some more reels and posts out. So
Beautiful.
if you just caught us at the end here, don't worry about it. We're going to continue to do these every few weeks. So that's the show. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Take care.
Peace.